And this morning we are going to jump right into what's on the menu with dietitian Janelle Zakour. Good morning, Janelle.
Good morning, Khary.
So today we're talking about something that that has people on both sides of the fence, which is gluten and a gluten-free diet. Now, lots of people, we are in the carnival season, lots of people are concerned with their diets, and some of them go into fad diets, some of them do it for after they've done research and stuff like that. But really, how good or how bad is a gluten-free diet?
Well, there are therapeutic applications for the gluten-free diet, and a lot of people adopt them thinking that they have something, but maybe it may be something else.
Oh, well, before we jump into all that, firstly, what is gluten? Because
I was going to ask you that, Khary, because it does have a very major culinary application.
Yeah, it does, definitely. You know, from my side of things in regards to the culinary world, of course, you would know about that yourself.
I do love my breads.
In your capacity as a pastry chef. Gluten is a protein made of two components called glutenin and gliadin.
Right.
And we use that in the culinary world in regards to baking and stuff for, bread, for instance. It helps give bread its structure and its form. Gluten is developed with the introduction of moisture, and the more you knead the dough, the more gluten that is formed. So it creates a framework, really, for your baked goods.
Pretty much. Like when you look at a slice of bread, that webbing is really just all that beautiful gluten, making its magic.
Yeah, I like how you say beautiful gluten.
It is.
Some
It's
people
not
are
a
like
bad
making this
thing.
and they cross and
yeah, it's actually not.
Gluten.
So gluten is from a family of proteins, as you said. It comes from the Latin word for glue, because
Really?
it becomes sticky when
Right.
moisture, water is added.
That reminds me of back in the days, kite making with brown paper, and you use some flour and water to make glue.
And paper mache
pretty much,
as well, yeah. No, so there are many applications for it.
Right.
So gluten is not necessarily a bad thing, right? So it's important for creating that structure in breads. It's important for giving it can act as a thickener in things like soups and stews.
And sauces and the like, right?
Right. So it's not necessarily a negative thing. Even like persons on a vegetarian or vegan diet, they use gluten as a protein source. It mimics the texture of meat.
Okay, that's
So
very interesting
the
to
same
know.
way you need dough to create the sound gluten formation,
Right.
you can wash the starch out afterwards and you're left with a mass. And you can use
very
that. You can
interesting.
cook that as
Yeah.
like a steak.
Really?
Yeah. So there are other culinary applications for gluten apart from just breads.
Okay, well, the thing is, my question then is, like, how did gluten get such a bad rep?
All right. So as I said before, it is a therapeutic diet that we use for a growing number of persons in this country who have celiac disease.
Right.
So persons with autoimmune disorders. So what celiac disease is your body kind of sees gluten as a foreign substance and tries to attack it.
Oh, I see. So it's
It's an actual
your body's
gluten
like
allergy.
It's an allergy.
It is an allergy, yes. So there are persons with wheat allergies as well. But how
Right.
celiac disease works is, have you ever looked at like a longitudinal slice of a small intestine?
No, I
It's
have
not a very
Janelle.
common, it's not a very common picture, but if you can imagine it. So in the
Right.
lining of your small intestine, there are finger-like projections called villi,
Right, I'm familiar
right?
with
And that is responsible for nutrient absorption. With celiac disease, when gluten is present in the system, the villi is one of the first things to suffer, and they start to flatten. So that's how we see that persons with celiac disease who eat gluten end up with nutrient malabsorption and eventually malnutrition. So they can end
that's
up
a big
starving
deal.
to death eating
eating gluten
foods with gluten
because
in
your
it.
body's attacking.
Yes.
You
So
think,
there are other
okay.
persons with other autoimmune diseases, not necessarily celiac disease, such as alopecia, who benefit from a gluten-free diet as well. But there's a term circling the internet now, and a lot of experts are on the fence about what it is.
Okay.
So it's non-celiac gluten sensitivity.
Non-celiac gluten sensitive.
Yes.
All right. That's interesting, because to me it sounds like they just don't like gluten.
It's not that they don't like gluten, it's they find relief from not having foods containing gluten.
Okay. All
Right? So there again, it's a very gray area in the medical community.
Right.
So some people believe it's an actual thing. Some people, they don't believe it as a
Some-
diagnosis.
Yeah, some people are skeptics.
Well,
about it.
some persons who do find relief, it may not be the gluten affecting them. It may be FODMAPs.
What are FODMAPs?
So it's, it's a group of carbohydrates,
All right.
and they tend to affect persons with irritable bowel syndrome.
All right. Well, just quickly before we close off, let's go into the pros and cons quickly about
Right.
a gluten-free diet.
There are actually many pros, but there are equally as many cons. So for persons with gluten sensitivity or gluten allergy, it may relieve digestive symptoms.
Symptoms, all
Yes,
right.
so
And what's another pro?
it can reduce chronic inflammation in those with celiac disease. It may improve the markers of inflammation, so the antibody levels may improve. It can help you lose weight. So for persons who find themselves, losing weight on a gluten-free diet, it's probably because they've eliminated certain junk foods that do contain gluten.
Right.
So cookies, pies, cakes, etc.
And quickly, what are some of the cons?
Okay, so you may run the risk of nutritional deficiencies because a lot of gluten-containing foods contain a lot of the B vitamins, riboflavin, niacin, thiamine, folate. So it's an important source of folate, especially for pregnant women. Persons may experience constipation because you're removing the fiber that's present in wheat-containing foods.
Right.
Because a lot of gluten-free items on the market now are void of fiber. They're starch-based. You may become constipated on it.
Oh, all right.
And there are actually others, like the cost. But unfortunately for us, we have actually a lot of wonderful, naturally gluten-free foods in the country. Provisions.
Right, yeah, we do. We have the provisions. We have
green figs, plantains.
Exactly, and we're so blessed in the Caribbean in regards to the things that are available to us that are naturally gluten-free.
So it is actually very easy to follow a gluten-free diet while following, your local foods.
Yeah, so we have to jump back into that. I know, again, this time just goes by so quickly when we're speaking all these things. I get so excited talking about food, but
that's what your specialty is,
exactly, right?
And I did ask you for this gluten-free segment late last year, Janelle, because I wanted to launch into my gluten-free diet because I felt like it helped me feel much better.